Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Quantum Show. Me and DJ Wardove, aka Tim, are heading the panel tonight. And we've got quite a bit to go over because I went over what I went over. Tim has more perspective to add. And I don't have any animals. I mentioned, by the way, I'm using the facial recognition.
Nice.
and uh So if the
I'm
camera
not.
jumps around a little bit, yeah, it does. If the camera jumps around a little bit, it's a ghost or it's losing track of me, just so you know. But if I go away from here and the thing starts moving, it's seeing something, okay? And it might be seeing Bigfoot for the first time ever on the Quantum Show. I'm just kidding. but anyway, welcome back. Thanks for joining me, Tim.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I think that you would have a unique perspective on this because I am still listening to the Telepathy Tapes blog broadcast, right? I just started the first one, and it's a lot of note taking and data gathering. And are you familiar with? Have you seen it yet?
No, I'll go back and watch it after the show. I promise.
Okay,
I've been catching Amy's show on rebroadcast for about 2 weeks now. I watched the girl you had on chat. I watched
right.
her I've recently seen a couple of different people with their disclosures, and I'm trying to catch up on her show, but I got like a million things to do in my normal life
I
in
feel
the
you.
Muggle world.
I feel you. The Muggle world don't let up. Okay, well, the link. I started with Amy's show, so I suggest you start there too and go from there.
Okay.
But it's basically telepathy, and well, you are you familiar with the Voyage Star Trek Voyager Unimatrix Zero?
Yes.
It's almost just like that, except no sci-fi involved. These people are uh okay. Obviously they're not Borg, right? But they are different people here than they are there. And over there, it's funny because what I heard so far on the tapes is they were relaying messages perfectly through each other, but like it was as if I was to give you a message and you would relay it perfectly, but your messages couldn't get out from you directly. But you could give them my messages and I could give them your messages. The person,
Hmm.
the speech that they were talking, that they were using was so eloquent and lots of vocabulary. That's on episode 1 of the actual telepathy tapes, not Amy's show, but um yeah, you have Dolly, and
Yes.
something else was empathy and telepathy with our pets.
Oh, well, yeah, of course that happens. I mean, your pets bond with you, and well, um, any latent telepathic abilities you have as part of the bonding process, empathy, sympathy, um, telepathy. Uh, if your dog is capable of fucking moving, excuse me,
Hey, that's okay. We're in
late
the
show
panel
edit.
discussion, bro.
uh, if if your dog has any special abilities, you'll notice them in the bonding process.
hmm Yeah, and y- I have had pets in the past. Uh, and I had Tilk. Yeah, it's a science fiction name. But I had Tilk. He was a Chihuahua mix, and he was about the same size as Dolly. And
Hmm.
we went everywhere. Once we figured out how to talk to each other, it was obvious. He he knew what I was thinking, and I could tell when he needed me for anything.
Yeah.
Food, walk, and I'm talking when I was at work and he was at home, I could tell something was going on from from him. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. They're on a wavelength that we are not on, and they see the universe in a different way. It's an example of truth, if you want to think about it. Truth with a capital T. You know, the dog sees the world the way that it truly is, and you see the world the way it truly is. And you and the dog, if you meet out your vision together, it's a much better uh, truth with a
Right.
capital T.
There's a lot of cross referencing. I mean, you see it.
Yeah.
I would see things the way Tilk would see. Something happened one time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was living in a trailer park. I had Tilk with me. We were going for a walkie, and there was this guy who lived at the end, and he didn't know how to put these metal shelves together. You know, the kind that the metal rack shelves at every fast food place and every pizza place. You know, the metal rack shelving with the tubes, and you just
Mm-hmm.
slide it down, and lock it in place. Okay, he had some of that. He couldn't figure out how to do it, and he was kind of in the house. Oh, sorry, he was kind of in the house, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, come on, buddy." He's like, "Can you help me?" I'm like, "Sure, come on." He would not go in there, and I got a sense of danger from him.
Yeah.
This is well after we had bonded. I got a real sense of danger, like, "You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to go in here. I'm not gonna let you go in here." And he
Right.
was like he was a little boy, little guy, but he was pulling hard. He would not let me go in there, right? He wouldn't even let me pick him up and take him in there. It was like he knew something was up with this dude, and
Yes.
something was up, and I just was like directing him from the from the door. I had like he was over here, and I was like put them together and slide them down, and then do this and do that, and that was that was one example of him having that bond with me,
Yeah.
and that was a very quantum thing because I don't
I
know what he was seeing, but he knew something.
I really believe that they see into this. We talked about this quantum realm before on previous shows. Because of a brain injury, I don't really see things in sequence all the time. I see kind of like a quantum lattice in front of me, and I pick from these possibilities. And hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody, I'm just as you're talking, I don't mean to distract. I'm just acknowledging the
That's
chat as
awesome.
best I can.
I'm watching it out of the corner of my eye too. I see Samo saying 100% correct. I think that's about the dog comments.
Mm-hmm.
And but what I'm saying is, I think that she sees that quantum realm that I see, but she also sees the world that the regular people, the Muggles, see, and she keeps Dad from stumbling in this world when we're together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some of my memories aren't sequential. Uh, since they're not sequencing right, she's the one that catches my misstep and it's like, oh, he's flashing back again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I highly recommend, whether you're healthy or not healthy, get a dog and they'll make you healthier.
Yeah. Yeah. I can say cats too because little big boy, he passed away
Mm-hmm.
about a little over a year ago. He was like that with me. Him and I had a bond, and he lived with my mom. I haven't had been able to have an animal here, a pet here of any
Yeah.
kind that lives outside of a tank. So I'm like, screw it, I want robots instead. But they're not very quantum. Let me tell you, not these robots. Um,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. But little big boy, he bonded with me. He would hide and had a whole different behavior when I would come around. He was he was my cat. I mean, I don't even understand it, but there it is. It's just there. And when Raven comes on, hey, welcome to the show. When Raven comes on, she will talk about what the cats talk to her. I've got a cat. I've got a crazy bonded cat story, but it is way. It's related because we're talking about animal bonding, but it's not
Yeah.
that. Not Unimatrix Zero or the Hill or anything. I'll get to it. It's cool. It's more, very much more of the quantum show than than this brand new topic. It's not a new topic. We've been living with this for a long time. We know it's there. And I listen to these people talk about, well, this is new and we've never heard of it. Have they never watched the X-Men? Have they never seen comic books or
I
anything
get
like
that all
that?
the I get that all the time. I mean, sci-fi tropes are something that I'm really really into because the sci-fi trope of yesterday, beep beep, is the phone of the future.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, psionics. This is a psionics topic, right?
Psionics came up with D&D in the 60s.
Yeah, for the mainstream. It had been around, but it just came up for D&D and the X-Men in 1963, dude. The X-Men came
Yeah.
out in 1963. So I think that was before Gygax did that, right? The D&D.
Gygax was known for taking stuff and adapting it to his own.
Oh,
But,
really?
well, he did turn hobbitses into halflings. In fairness,
True.
he got sued a lot. The whole Cthulhu thing,
Yeah,
but
I've forgotten a lot about this stuff. I've forgotten a lot. I haven't had a chance to get into the gaming topics for a long time. But
oh
I
wow,
just said Gygax. I mean,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I'm definitely familiar with the D&D realms.
Yeah. Yeah, and it came up and well, last week I was talking about psionics, right? Well, these
Right.
kids are doing it. They've been doing it, and uh, the public acts like they've never heard of this stuff, and it's so strange and scary. I'm like, the X-Men movies have been mainstream for years now. There was a cartoon in the
Right.
90s. I mean,
In the mainstream, they even had they've had plenty of movies with different types of telepathy in it. It shouldn't be scary as a trope anymore. Um, it's been introduced so many damn times in sci-fi and in reality shows that when somebody a telepath of some sort,
mhm,
they 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 shouldn't feel ashamed anymore. I don't think it carries the stigma that it did 20 years ago to say that
right.
somebody has some latent psychic ability of some sort. And
Yeah,
that's really what psionics is some latent psychic ability that's genetically uh, yeah,
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 it is
X-Men.
natural. X-Men,
Yes.
it's natural. And in X-Men, it was a mutation. And well, there was a whole political thing about the X-Men, but it was natural. It wasn't something that
Right.
they trained for. They weren't sleeper agents and they weren't all accident victims like me, okay? That's how I got mine, woke
Mm.
up. And I think you too, right? The traumatic brain
Yeah.
injury? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um but uh it's neat how Joe Rogan went from psionics and then he was talking. I forget what he was talking about, but then he went to the telepathy tapes.
Mhm.
Well, they're the same topic from different
Right.
angles.
Yeah.
I want everyone in the chat to realize that this telepathy tapes thing, the Hill Unimatrix Zero, is all psionics. It's all. It's just not. They're not using a technology to access it because it's built into us. It really is, and it just takes. Sometimes it takes some trauma. Everyone I know who has had trauma of any kind, you name it, they have something going on where they can see ghosts, see spirits, talk to other people, feel stuff from other people, find aliens in crowds. Oh my god. That is that is some of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And I thank the knock in my head for that, right? It turned me into an X-Man. You too.
Yeah, those with gifts give the best gifts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's sorry, I'm this is a near and dear to me topic, especially because
Yes.
it is like Unimatrix Zero, the Hill, these kids being
Yeah.
unrecognized for so long, and they're actually doing studies finally. And now that Joe Rogan's on, blasting it on the mainstream, now people will actually start to pay attention, you know, because studies like this are cheap. They're not expensive. There's not a big lab involved. You don't have to do chemical studies or comparisons or a lot of the safety regs. It's classroom based. And like they're talking about third graders and fourth graders, all the way from kindergarten up, right? Nonverbal, autistic kids. Well,
Yeah.
they don't know why they're nonverbal. No one has figured that out yet. However, it was told to me that they choose to not be verbal because being telepathic, to use their term, I'm still not sure if it's telepathy or not, if they're just not tuned into the frequency, or is that telepathy? You know, these
Or is that
things
autism?
is huh?
Really, I mean, when you talk about autism and Asperger's and different things, they all exist on a spectrum that they're not they're not really realizing that the world is so black and white as a gradient fill.
Right. You're right. I totally. You know what? This camera's moving around a lot. We might have a visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. If this camera's moving, it's tracking, right? And when I take a little, when the time comes for me to take a break, if this camera moves, I'm going to leave it on the whole show, right? If this camera moves and tracks something, it's tracking something, not going haywire because I've left this thing alone. It just sits there. I thought it was scanned, but it doesn't.
Is it
But
hold on, let me grab this real quick. Is it one of these?
it is very similar to that one. Yeah,
Ah, those are awesome.
they're fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm so glad that I got into video within the last 3 years. It's so much more fun than music in some
Hmm.
ways.
Oh, you know what? If I just speaking of that, right? The last show ended, and Streamyard came up and says, "Would you like to make AI clips?" And I was like, "Sure." So
Nice.
they are in the process of rendering. So you may want to look at getting your Streamyard, dude.
Okay.
I'll find out what it does when it's done doing its thing. Right? I'm not really sure. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it might look. It might be pretty damn interesting. Is Raven here? Did Raven come in? Hey, Raven. Okay, yeah. She will be there soon. Okay. She will tell us about the cat dimension. And she thinks that
Nice.
I make a joke out of it, but here we
Oh,
are.
there is a video out there of what goes on in a cat's brain, and I think we showed it on a previous show, but it cats render everything that they see as cats. Like
hmm
mice are tiny little cats that they eat, and we're big cats that feed them,
Right.
and like they put ears and cat faces on everything that they see.
Their perception of reality. Oh man,
So we
that's
joke around with my Frank, and we're like, cat, 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 feed me, cat, 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 cat.
um Samo's asking were the face trackers expensive? Not at all, dude. I paid $27 on Amazon for this one. Not at all expensive. And y- I, I recommend everyone get one of these. It attaches to the tripod the same as the camera, and then it has a little squeezer on it. On mine, right? And then it squeezes the base of the camera, and here we are. Come on, you. I'm right here. Yeah, thank you. It keeps going over here, so I'm thinking maybe we have a visitor.
Mine's
No.
just the standard camera mount with infrared on it.
You have an infrared one. Okay.
It's
This is
it's infrared. It like mine tracks the movement back and forth by infrared. I don't know what yours is using as a tracking frequency.
I think it is using facial recognition, which makes me think this is yet another digital spy in my house. But whatever, if the digital spies want to see ghosts, great.
Mine's generation one, but it was made in China, so it could possibly be spying on me.
Yeah.
Whatever they want, they can freaking have.
Bring it, Bigfoot.
I got graffiti all over my desk. This is about an anonymous location as you can find.
Yeah. But okay, getting back on what we're talking about, right? We did get distracted, but it's all related. And but yeah, all this stuff with the kids, this is a psionics thing. And I'm sure there's some kind of video out there where in Russia in 1959 they took these kids and did the blah blah blah. I'm sure it's going to be out there. Somebody's going to generate it in AI at some point. They were helping the Kremlin or something.
Well, I think that if there's a trope out there and somebody had the idea about something, then in reality, the expression of that thing generally tends to be stronger,
hmm
you know,
hmm
because when you're writing something, you have certain rules that you have to follow and things. But in reality, like if there was a secret missile program in the Soviet Union in the 70s, then, boom, it's real.
Right. I hear you. Um, but I'm sure we're gonna have a bunch of stuff come out from AI generated video sources about. Well, this was done in the 50s and
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Tyler.
It's,
Tyler is part of uh Post 82 Productions. And welcome to the Quantum Show, Tyler. Are you familiar with psionics or empathy or Unimatrix Zero? Probably not. But welcome. This is my main show, and with me is Tim, aka or DJ Wardove, aka Tim. We've known each other for umpteen million years.
we've known each other since previous existences for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. We are. Oh, we were different people back then for sure,
Yeah.
and it's good. It's all good because here we are. And well, Tyler's here. Tyler, you are quantum.
I just
Get ready.
subscribed to your channel. It says 1 subscriber. Boy, we can get you up there tonight.
Yeah. Who's vacuuming?
What's vacuuming? Oh,
There is
you
noise
got,
in the background.
that's weird because my room is soundproofed.
You know what? All agents, like and subscribe. You're here, therefore you're quantum. I know you're watching. Hope you enjoy the show. We're talking about psionics, and we're talking about Unimatrix Zero and The Hill. There is a lot of background noise, man.
My office just opened up for the dogs to go out, but there is definitely no background noise of vacuuming here. I'm wondering if there's like ghosts vacuuming in either of our houses.
I
Who
don't know.
knows?
I don't know. I know my camera's looking at something. So sure. It's not okay. It's not an airplane. Oh, I'm taking off. Okay. His engines are spinning up. There is y'all, this always happens. If you're not familiar, this always happens. There's always some sign of something else coming in. I love it when the anomalies show up, and it looks like my camera is seeing one anomaly and his microphones are hearing another. Or is it the same
Yeah,
anomaly?
because I have the other quantum show on, the one playing on YouTube, not StreamYard. It's all muted,
Hmm.
and I don't have anything playing. I'm in a soundproofed room, going over a studio mic.
You know what? It almost sounds like a bunch of sirens in the distance.
And I live in the country, so that's
Right.
impossible.
I
It's
got no
weird.
sirens either. That's awesome. It is not a fan and a laptop. I don't think you're using a laptop, are you?
Nope, I'm using a desktop,
Yeah,
and I
same
don't have a
here.
fan in this room.
And my
I
fans
mean,
run.
it is quiet in here. I mean, like, listen.
Yep. You can't really hear anything because I'm using this microphone here. Yeah.
Sounds like a faint howling wind.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide. We've isolated that it's an anomaly.
Yep. Welcome to the quantum show. That's what happens. The anomalies show up. I love it when that happens.
Yeah,
Right.
they say in chat it sounded like an aircraft taking off.
I love it. Or wind whistling. I love it. They're here, y'all. They're here. You better have coffee ready.
The aliens are on the party line. Remember those party lines?
I I had one in a house I was at. It was cool to be. Oh man, I was able to force my modem to go over my dead phone line that still had a carrier. I forced my modem to talk to my buddy 7 miles away. His computer, we had a direct link, and that 56K modem was sweating. Let me tell you, it was running at max speed because it was a reformatted party line. It wasn't like we have now. It was a party line that they said, we're just going to use this and like give it a server. And well, the hardware was still there. It was so cool. But yeah, we're all hearing, except you. You're the only one not hearing it. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All the agents are online now because we're talking about psionics and the hill. and nonverbal autistic children probably because Joe Rogan said
That
it.
was the door. They just came in with the dogs.
I did hear that.
Oh,
And
here's Dolly. She was just talked about.
hey, Dolly, you're a co-star of the show tonight.
Can she stay in there with you? Yeah, she can stay. She'd probably like that too. She's got a little perch here on the side desk. I wish I'd put this on my phone instead of the computer tonight, because I got like this little spot where she has a blanket with her face on it.
No.
And it's right beside a whole bunch of cactus plants, and she's so tiny that it doesn't bother her that they're cactuses.
Yeah. Oh, Diane, it is tracking something. It's got face tracker in it, and it's tracking something. So I think I have a partner over here or something, and it keeps looking over there. Say hi. Welcome to the Quantum Show. Sitting in the studio with me, I don't know who it is. Probably the little kid that plays with the toys in here. For real, y'all. Hey, Woo
Whoa,
Riders.
that was a lot, Woo Riders.
Yeah, okay.
Good seeing you, though.
Okay. Okay, Woo. Welcome back, Woo Riders. But I want to bring it back up that these people getting into these topics, they act like they've never heard of psychic ability ever, and it's brand new, and it's like it's being presented to them in a different way, and now it can click with them. Now it can. It has to be. They have to have their hands held to go through with this stuff, and also, go ahead.
60 years worth of the existence of Twilight Zone episodes as not
right. It had to be
telepathy at all.
I know. They even remade it in radio and another whole new TV show, and still they weren't ready for it. I'm like, guys, and we look at stuff, our perspective here, the quantum perspective, where we live on this fringe, whatever we want to call it, right? Mm-hmm. This is old news to us. We've been living it for years, and now they're catching up because it's on Joe frickin' Rogan. Okay. I guess that's okay. You know, it does get people into it. So that's fine. Mm-hmm. Right. It's they've never jumped into it before, so why would they now, Joe Rogan? And he's like super popular on TV. He's got like primetime TV show or something. Yeah, that camera is tripping me out too. It keeps wiggling like, what are you looking at? It has two gestures, which is stop, and it stops. See, now it's not going to do it. And then I have to go, okay, and it goes, turns back on. Those are the only two gestures. The user manual is literally one folded up page that ends up being this big. It's tiny. It's how to charge it and the two hand gestures and how to use the little up and down lens. So that's okay. Woo is saying, okay, he uploaded a video. Okay. And also, Samo is coming in saying, remember Twin Peaks? Yeah, I remember Twin Peaks. I didn't get to watch very much of it because, well, I was in the Army. And I was a little busy. But, yeah. And, well, we can safely assume they're here. And, well, I do have my Crystal Network active, so it might be the Hill. Welcome, Hill people. Welcome, everybody. The only other time this kind of thing has happened, and I was sure of it using that awareness, right, was when I was with Shingoji in Gatlinburg. I knew they were there. I had an audience of ghosts. It was amazing. I mean, I couldn't physically see them. He could, but I couldn't, and I could feel them there. I don't know
That's
how to
me.
explain it. Yeah, I just don't know how to explain it.
I feel them there with my sixth senses, um, and I like. I don't visually see them, but very, very rarely. But I can feel the presence of things that are trying to get my attention from
Mm,
that world,
right.
you know. And a lot of times, a lot of times, spirits, ghosts, and things like that, I find they're the unrested ones. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
I don't walk to a I don't walk to a graveyard and hear the voices of your grandmother, for example.
Hmm.
But um, my first encounter with ghosts of caliber that I could see was there was a terrible storm one day. It was right here at 1204 College Street, and I came to the porch door, and there was this couple that were all beat up and bloodied. It looked like they had gotten in an accident, and they went to the front door and they knocked on the front door, and I yelled through the porch door that I'd be around to open up the door and help them. And I went to the door, and all there was storm. The people, they weren't there. The people that I just talked to when I was, but apparitions like that are very rare. I imagine it's somebody who had an unfortunate accident at the crossroads,
Mm.
and that night, that with the storm and everything, the veil was just thin. But
Right.
I do have encounters like I do have ghost encounters. I just can't predict them or create them, or you know, I'm no Zach Bagans walking around going, "Ghost, come out here and fight me." I like it's weird, random stuff because I live out here on the Trail of Tears. That
Mm.
I'll see an Indian cross the road, and I won't question it. I'll just be
Right.
like, you know, it's one of
Hmm.
those things that happens.
Yeah.
But I get the unrested ones, like I said.
Right. I haven't seen spirits out here, even with the cemetery right there, unless I was out there that night. That was the only time.
Yeah.
But there are entities out here. I am quite sure we have some like imps, or not imps, but gnomes and fae folk out here. I am pretty sure we have that. Um, I actually caught something on the Dyson camera one time, way back in my videos. To me, I looked at it on a big screen, and I could see something pointed. It it looked like a skinny gnome with a pointed hat walking through the wood line. I saw
I
it. What? Go ahead.
I'm just letting you know I'm 100% believer in fae folk. I
Oh.
have not seen any myself, but I've known enough people in my family that do see fae folk that
Mhm.
I'm convinced that they exist, and that it's a cultural thing
Mhm.
where maybe because my background versus other people in my family, I'm not as attached to that old world spirit. You know what I mean? The fae
Yeah.
folk.
Right. The fae folk. Yeah. I didn't think that I was too attached to him either until I caught eyes on the Dyson camera in two
Wow.
spots. Yeah, and it wasn't very long, right? It was out here in my driveway, and I was looking at the house, and you could see in a bush two eyes. You know what it looked like? It looked like possum's eyes. Okay, but there was no way. This bush is wide, but it's very shallow. It's like for show, and there's nothing to hold on to that would support even the smallest possum. And these eyes were about yay far apart, maybe 3 inches apart. There was two in the bush and two in a tree above. They were both looking at me, and I debunked the hell out of this because, okay, the sun, it couldn't have been a reflection because the sun was not at the right angle. It was coming down towards me like this, and if it had been going like that, it could have reflected off a couple of leaves here and there. They had water on them, but it was coming this way, and
Mm-hmm.
I was looking. The way I have to do is I hold the filter up to the lens and film like that, right? Well, it caught that. I didn't see anything with my eyes, but they were keeping an eye on me. That was so cool when I saw that. And but yeah, they're here. I've seen two shadow critters out here. It might have been the same one, and it could have been a cat, but I have never seen it since. When I was first out here, driving on the road on the way up to this place, and well, I don't have a connection to them, or so I thought, but they're coming around, and all of a sudden, I have an affinity for little gnome statues.
Nice.
I don't know why.
Because they're little people that protect Mother Nature. I mean, it's not. It's a cryptid. It's a cryptid, but because it comes from a different time and place, people always think, "Oh, Disney type magic."
Right,
Not,
right. That.
not little spirits that would spike trees if they were trying to cut down the sacred ones,
Mm-hmm.
or little spirits that would be appeased by bowls of oatmeal because they were
Right.
hungry. You know, they left out bowls of milk for gnomes because they might be hungry, and if they were hungry, they got mischievous, and
Mm-hmm.
they can be dealt with.
Right. Right. And well, no, but the only other time this has happened where I've had a sudden affinity for something is when we first moved in here, and all of a sudden I started wanting wrestling dolls, women dolls, girl dolls, but not baby dolls and cutesy things like that, but wrestlers. And I was like, what is going on? All of a sudden I'm really like into this topic. I'm kind of like as a toy guy, right?
Yeah.
And I have a bag of them now, wrestling dolls, Princess Leia and the tough women, you know. And then Shingoji, his name is also Tim. Tim came over and got me kind of in direct contact with these beings, right? The little
Yeah.
kid loved the dolls because he was a little kid and he looked up to mom. Mom was a farm leader. She's tough lady. So I can see how that translated over. Now, gnomes. I have been hunting down big yard gnomes, big ones with the LEDs and holding lanterns and staffs and a bowl and stuff like that. I'm like,
Nice.
why do I want one of these so bad?
You probably have gnomes there. The graveyard's how old?
1760 something.
That's probably original stock settlers, first generation from the old world, buried out
Yeah.
there. You
Yeah.
may very well have gnomes because the gnomes outlived the people. that followed them. Huh.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something else. I was watching another she's an archaeology person, right? She was talking about when the tectonic plates of Europe and North America came across, they took the Appalachians with them, but they left some behind too. So it's like Ireland, they're linked.
Yeah.
Have you know about this?
Yeah. The Appalach, we were once attached.
Hmm.
Like Africa was attached to South America, and we were kind of snuggled up next to Europe
Hmm.
with Greenland and Iceland and all of that.
Yep. And the Appalachian chain was part of it, and it took
Yeah,
it with them. So I am not surprised at all if we have elves and gnomes and fairies here.
because the ley line,
All of
the ley,
that.
yeah. Uh, I'm I'm open to it. I'm
Hmm.
not one to be. I'm skeptical in that I debunk things, but then there's things that I have definitely seen that I feel strongly about that's real, even though most people don't believe it's real, like ghosts. You know,
Yep.
most people like discount ghosts, and I'm like, no, no. Ghosts are real if anything's real. They may not be the things that people think that they are. They may not be dead people, but
Hmm.
I've definitely seen apparitions that looked like dead people, and I've communicated. I've communicated with people looking to cross over and needing guidance. Um, I have never really gotten in contact with any malicious spirits in my time, which is probably a good thing. I wouldn't want that.
It's a very good thing. I have, and it's
Uh,
dude. Uh,
we need to know.
it's some of the scariest stuff I've ever had a part to be in. With the
Yeah,
malicious spirits, I have never been more scared than with the possessed girl. Right?
right.
That was one. That was one. There have been others, but that was the first one. But yeah, all what we're talking about, this is the same thing as what those kids interact with, but they're walling them.
Psychic.
Right? They're walling themselves off from it like a
Hmm.
firewall. Like they're all agreeing on how we're going to talk to each other if we were them, right? How we're going to talk to each other, what setting is going to be, and I am willing to entertain the idea that maybe they have ghosts as members or aliens are talking to them too
Yeah.
because we're
Maybe they're just talking to their spirit guides. Maybe they're talking to their fifth dimensional selves. Maybe they're
right.
talking. There's a
They're
lot of
spirit,
different things that could be going on.
yeah, they're
What I
spiriting.
think is amazing about what you've been telling me about them is that they're getting the facts right, which means that it's scientifically verifiable, which means that in time we'll actually get some real answers out of something like this instead of the more pseudoscientific methods that people have come up with on TV and stuff.
Right,
You
right,
know,
uh-huh, exactly. Maybe now that we have some sort of a control group that we
right?
can, like a think tank or something, and this lady is really putting them through their paces. She's doing the scientific method. Oh, sorry about that. Um, so she's taking notes. She's talking to teachers around the world. I believe one of the topics was beekeeping. They were talking about beekeeping, and they were all of a sudden all talking about beekeeping, and it seemed to come out of nowhere. That's that's something that's substantial. That is something they could all uh, tell their parents or teachers or whatever. And the unknown is saying anything on shadow people. Well,
They're real too, but they're not real. If you know what I mean, I've had encounters with shadow people, and they seem to be things that are not conscious anymore. They're like they're leftovers. They're leftover energy.
okay. Well, I will go with that because I haven't had much experience at all with shadow people. Have
Yeah,
you ever encountered them?
others may have more experience about that, the unknown. But if you want to talk to me, offline, I'm very, very accessible over the internet.
Aussie is
And
reminding me it's coming up to coffee break time, and Aussie Boss is saying, please like and share and subscribe if you hear your quantum. And I'm sensing the red light. I'm sensing a blinking red light. Like, hey, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. And the unknown is saying that's the first time I've heard that. But uh, the thing about the spirit world, y'all, is it's very up to your interpretation. You know,
yeah,
it really is. A lot of people think that this stuff is all demons. By the way, not demons. Demons are demons, and they're not other things. That is, I'm saying right now, right? Everyone knows here. Quantum Show says aliens are not demons. Demons are demons, not aliens.
right.
I will never get tired of saying that. They're still not demons. I checked.
Kelly Lewis says they love the cameras.
Yes, somebody loves the cameras because they're like getting it. Look there, right there. The camera doesn't follow directions. Look, it doesn't. Hi there. I don't.
So
I,
if you want to go get coffee, I'll stay here and entertain chat, and then I'll take my coffee break after yours.
okay, that'll work. Yeah, coffee
Okay.
time, y'all. I'm going to
Okay.
uh if the camera is moving around, it ain't me on it. Okay, so you're gonna watch it follow me, and I've got the little camera sensor pointing upward so it can see me. But just an interesting little thing. I want to put a trail cam on this thing, but it's not waterproof. Anyway, coffee time. Back in a minute. Is it going to see?
Yeah, it's going to follow you off screen.
There's a face on the cup. Oh, does it see the cup? Nope. Can't fool this robot. Be right back. Coffee time.
He's trying to sneak out. All right. The unknown. I'm I don't have a lot of experience with shadow people. I don't know if what I'm calling shadow people is the same as what you're calling shadow people. Um, I don't watch a lot of paranormal shows, and I kind of disregard anything on paranormal shows. In my experience, the shadow people that I've run into have been the residual energy of creatures that existed in the future in another timeline or something. I can't really describe it, but they oh yeah, his weapon system is working. But I do have my own shadow people experiences, and I would love to talk with you about them offline. You can get me over Facebook Messenger or over my own channel. I have to leave this panel in order to get into chat to message you, so that's not going to happen. He says, I've witnessed some strange and unexplainable things over the years, events that defy logic and leave more questions than answers. Yes, that is why I am here, and I sensed that you wanted to be here too. Robot Jim, 100% correct. They're shadows of another place and another time. My particular shadow people are wandering around looking for some lost compass or some shit. I mean, they mumble and talk, but they're not people anymore. The camera's creeping me out. Kelly Lewis, I saw you comment on I have fairies and gnomes at my house, and I'm sure you all do too. It's mainly they follow my mom. My mom loves fairies. She leaves gifts for fairies, and they love her. I don't know if she actually sees them, but I sense them. And yeah, it's crazy that fairies are real, but they're real. At least to people who can feel them. They're real. I don't think I'm so crazy that my feeling of fairies being real is not real. Oh, hi, Raven. He's at coffee. He'll be back. Good day, Aussie. You were already here, though. And I hear something. Does anyone else have questions for me? Oh, this is cool. What Kelly said, I have an orb that interacts with my camera. I have fairies and rods that love my camera. I have discovered fairy stones. Like, I have so many different stones with natural holes in it, and I know that they say in the old days you could use them to discover fey dimensions, and yeah, I collect them. They're really, really amazing. One of these nights, maybe I'll show you all my collection. How many ghosts have I seen in my lifetime? They've been less common since the brain injury. I mainly saw ghosts when I was younger. I seem to have a really active time with the paranormal between 13 and 17. It probably had to do with development, and the brain injury just made me see everything different. Everything different. Yes, orbs can disrupt electric devices. I've seen electric devices get disrupted by orbs before. But I don't know if the thing that I call an orb is what you're calling it an orb, because, you know, a lot of times they'll like say, oh, there's an orb, and it's just a little camera flare. That's not an orb. An orb is something that I can see and sense and feel, but is also present on the camera.
Okay, I'm back. Well, was there any camera movement when I was gone?
There was much camera movement while you were gone.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
And she
Diane,
hears that sound again.
yeah, I don't hear it this time. I don't hear it this time. So there was a lot of camera movement. Oh, I love it. This thing does not scan. It stops seeing something. It stops and it waits. I've watched it do it only on the Quantum Show, y'all. Say
Mhm.
hello to my little friend. Ah!
The quantum chat has been very good tonight. Raven's in the waiting room, by the way.
Okay, I see her
So
there.
you should
Is
probably let her. You should probably let her in, and I'll go ahead and check levels of things.
okay, cool, man.
I'll be
I
right
will.
back.
Roger that. Hello, Raven.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you not using a camera tonight?
I will be using a camera in just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I got something here, and the cat's messed up my background.
Oh, okay. Unknown. I see you're saying I'm not exactly sure if what I'm seeing is an orb. I don't know. I don't know. I can't see anything. So yeah, Raven sound. Your sound is coming in good. So all right. So yeah, I can't see any of it. I don't. I mean, I'm here. Are you seeing on my camera or Tim's camera? Because that Raven's camera is for sure an orb right now. It's round.
Yeah, here we go. Second.
Okay, yeah, I went and got a cup of coffee. Oh, it stayed on the door waiting on your return. Okay, cool. Well, we're having spirit activity tonight, Raven.
I think you are.
We've been talking about the hill. Have you heard of the telepathy tapes yet?
No, I had not heard of them until Amy's show, and I
You've
haven't
watched
seen them yet.
Have you watched that show? Amy's
What?
show?
Yeah, I was there for Amy's show.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't. I had to watch it later.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I had never heard of the telepathy tapes before.
Me neither. And I guess that's what Joe Rogan is good for after all.
Yeah, I think so. I like how he's taking our woo woo mainstream, so it's not so woo woo.
Right.
Love that. And I hadn't heard of the telepathy the telepathy tapes. Is that what they call them, right? Okay. Yeah. But what I have seen that's similar to that, there's a documentary made by Carolyn Corey, and it's called Superhuman. And they take these kids, they blindfold them, and it's got like a double blindfold, and they are able to read a book double blindfolded because showing that their consciousness is outside of the body. And they're able to run in between these, like the orange cones you see on the road for road construction. They set them up in a line, and these kids could weave and run in and out of those cones and not knock them over.
Okay.
It's amazing. They can read double blindfolded. It is phenomenal. She goes over to the shelf and randomly picks up a book and randomly opens up the page and puts it in their lap. Say, "There, read this."
I'm gonna have to go look up that documentary.
Yeah.
So
it's on Amazon. I believe it's on. I know it's on Gaia. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube or not, but I'll do a quick search and tell you.
Well, if it's on Amazon, I can definitely go see it. I will check it out, and the link will be in the description. I'm taking notes actively as we're doing this stuff.
And she takes a novice who has never had any psychic training at all. Mm-hmm. They go to a guy's house and they put a big glass jar over a piece of paper that's suspended on a needle, sewing needle, like.
Yes.
And then moving with your mind, making that paper turn around. And they do a remote viewing experiment.
Right.
Utterly fascinating. And the girl had never done anything like this, never been interested in this kind of stuff at all. So she was the perfect test subject for this sort of thing.
Okay. That is the perfect test subject. Someone with no preconceived notions.
No preconceived notions at all.
And that's called Superhuman?
Superhuman.
All right, I'll check it out.
And Carolyn Corey is Cory, her last name. I'll look and see if I can post a link here in the chat.
Okay. All right. So Tim and I were talking all about the comparisons and our own experiences with all the psychic phenomenon. That this is a psionics. This is a psionics topic, and I think possibly that's what is making it so interesting because last week it was psionics that was the buzzword for like 2 weeks, and now it's these kids and the telepathy tapes. And well, as you know, I have my crystal network. We blew up machines doing it. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on. Okay. And then I compared it to something you probably don't know about, Star Trek Unimatrix Zero. And it is a
Star Trek Voyager.
Star Trek Voyager. It is a separate network other than the main network, like a subnet. And that's just what it seems like to me. And okay, something else we talked about was telepathy with animals, or rather empathy. And Tim has Dolly. I don't have any pets right now, but I had a little big boy for a long time, and he really was bonded to me. You, however, live in the cat dimension. So tell us.
There's a couple that are bonded to me, but not all of them are bonded to me. And I've got telepathy with a couple of them really strongly. My teeth fell out. So
Joe, blame the cats.
Oh God! I'm going to get. Yeah, there's one time one of them called me an asshole. Like seriously, I heard it loud. I heard it in my ear. Like I heard it. Yeah, he was mad. He wanted to go outside, and I wasn't going to let him out at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
And he called me an asshole.
Well, I have to say I haven't heard that one before, but similar.
It makes me mad. They'll talk, and complain and things. But then when there's an injury or they're sick and not feeling good, they're just quiet. And I'm like, of all times, you need to be talking to me is now. Tell me what's wrong. Is this something you just need some rest, be left alone, or you need to go to the vet? They all hate the vet, so they never really volunteer to go to the vet. No.
But for sure, there is a communication there.
Oh yeah, definitely there is. There is.
Yeah, we were, and something else we talked about was telephone telepathy, where you right before the first hour, somebody called me, and they popped into my head right before my phone started ringing. All the time. That happens to me a lot.
That happens to me. Yeah. I very rarely don't know who's on the other end of the phone, and that was long before call waiting or caller ID. I mean.
Yeah. Before caller ID, I was still doing it before then.
Yeah.
See, telephone telepathy is a form of remote viewing. I mean,
yeah, I guess it would be.
I was just curious.
Yeah, in a way it is.
Raven, you're one of my paranormal experts. Like between you and Nathan, and Lynn, I save my paranormal questions for the weekend.
Oh, cool. It's been a lifelong study for me. And I experienced all kinds of stuff. That's what drove my curiosity to find out what the hell was going on in my world, and to find some explanation to why, I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things, I'm knowing things that I shouldn't know, and it started back in grade school. And by the time I reached junior high, I had been through the entire paranormal section in the local public library. All of them.
4 books.
What do you think it is in your case? Do you think it's just an adaptation?
I think everyone has the hardware, so to speak, to interact with and detect the paranormal. We call it paranormal, but actually it's pretty normal because as humans, we are so limited. Our range of sight is very limited. You know, it stops right where the ultraviolet begins, going up the scale, and then going down the scale right where infrared begins. We just have a very small bandwidth of what we can see and hear. You have like dogs, like a dog whistle. We can't hear that dog whistle, but the dogs can. Our hearing is limited. We're very, compared to the other species on this planet, we're very limited. So this stuff really, to somebody who could see and hear, and so maybe it's normal for them. And I had an instructor once that talked about this, and he's like, it's actually normal. It's not out of nature. It's all part of nature. So it's not normal. It just is for us. But
Right.
I believe that everybody has the hardware to perceive this stuff. Some people are born with it wide open and very advanced and developed, but everybody's got it. Everybody can be telepathic. You know, just like playing sports. Some people are just naturally gifted at being athletic, and some of us, like me, are klutzes, and they're not.
Right.
I get you.
For me, it took a hit on the head, and all the stuff started happening. So, okay.
And there are there's something about that because like there are some savants that had head injuries that were not, you know, particularly gifted. A guy got beat up coming out of the bar one night, and the next day he was like this piano aficionado. For real. I mean, there's something about getting blows to the head where different neurons link up with different neurons, and you got, you know, it's fascinating.
I don't feel that I was particularly gifted in psionic abilities of any type, but I did have really active. I did have a really active period between, like I was saying earlier, 13 to 17, where it seemed like during the puberty happening that I felt myself able to read minds and move matter and
Cool.
transfer energies and certain things normally. And but then when my brain injury happened, I didn't immediately get that back. But what I have now just seems much more rewarding. But not as directive and concise as the abilities were before.
You can get that back. It just takes a little practice. There's all kinds of little exercises that you can do for each one of the psychic gifts that you just need training. And for anybody that hasn't had a head injury and doesn't think they're psychic, you've got like I said, you've got the hardware. It just takes a little. Find a teacher, find a psychic medium. They can help you. I took classes to hone my skills because they were so uncontrollable. So I wanted to be able to do it on command and do it properly and know how to protect myself. Because when you open yourself up to that kind of thing, you want to make sure that you're very grounded and you've got a good, strong aura and put a like a ball of light around you. So that the lower entities, they'll see your light. That way they can't mess with you or piggyback onto you. That gets into a whole bunch of, that's a can of worms, isn't it, Nathan?
Oh, yeah, it is. It sure is. Uh-oh.
Door came open.
Because of course it did.
Because ghosts. No, I don't think it was ghosts in that case. I think it was the little doggy on the other side pushing.
Oh. He heard your mental call. Said, let me in, I'm coming in. And But yeah, that is another can of worms, Raven, because that's for another show, really. But it's related, so
Yeah.
and yeah, what happened about 2 years ago? I said, "Bring it on. I'll deal with it," and on it was brung. Oh man, let me tell you, all the stuff I started seeing. I had a UFO sighting, but and it was a crazy one. It was reported on Channel 5 and they deleted the broadcast. It was downtown Nashville. This was actually about 5 years ago. It was downtown Nashville. I was on an exit. I couldn't get my camera out to film it. It was two lights in the sky, and I was driving on the interstate, right? It was dark, and it was like November of one year, and early morning. So it was dark, and I was driving. I was on the exit, and I saw two lights, and I was like, "Huh, lights in the sky, cool." And then I saw it looked like at an angle, right, at a slight angle. Somebody pulled up a heavy curtain, and there was a lighter, not light, but it was a brighter blue than the dark sky, right?
Yeah.
Like this, like somebody pulled it up, and I was like, "Whoa!" Driving, and then whoa, and one of the lights had gone away. It just I didn't see it leave, right? But it went away. Then the other light, and then they both disappeared. The the drawn up thing, and it was over the interstate. Lots of witnesses. Channel 5 here covered it, and
And
nobody.
then they deleted it.
I can't find it anywhere. I can't
Huh.
find it anywhere. Nashville UFO sightings. I can't find it anywhere. That happened
Are
after.
you
Hmm?
uh cross-reference and do some research because Starlink was launching shit back then, and they didn't have to report it back then that they were launching, and it could have possibly been Starlink and SpaceX firing up their satellites for the Starlink network. Because I saw one night, I saw stars all in a row toward the equator, and I immediately thought UFO, and then I thought, no, this is too. I've seen satellites before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot of them. I had never seen that many of them in a row that made me think UFO, and then later on it did prove to be Starlink.
Right. My friend, and also he lives in Beebe, Arkansas, right? He saw
Yeah.
Starlink for the first time, and he thought he reported it as a UFO to us,
Huh.
to the group, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and he got a picture. It was Starlink. I'm like, look, I'm not arguing with you. People were saying you're crazy, you're stupid, you're imagining, and he got a bad taste in his mouth about that, right? And I was like, hold
I'll
on.
take a picture.
Right. I was like, dude, hold on. I want you to compare yours with this one. And he
Yeah.
saw, yeah. I wasn't being mean about it because I want it to be UFOs. I want it to
I
be.
do too. I do too. But if it's not, then if it's just some billionaire playing with our skies, it pisses me off. But that's a whole different outside of this subject.
He had the same attitude. He's like, what's the point of doing ufology if we're gonna have people doing aliens, being the aliens?
Right.
Me off. Yeah.
But there's a lot of pictures that were on the internet from that period, and if it was Nashville, if it was a Nashville TV station, they may have just been embarrassed that they
That's
reported.
possible. I hadn't even thought about that because people reported it to the TV station. They're
Right.
they're very accessible here. Like the local weather guys and the traffic guys, they're very accessible. You can call them, and they'll pick up the phone themselves. Not no answering service. You can drive over there. You can crash Channel 5 News if you want it. And there have been times when I wanted to, but another show.
Right.
But yeah, I never thought
Welcome,
of that.
Haven.
Hi. Thank you.
Diane is talking about out camping. Her and her boyfriend saw 2 lines of lights that was way longer in the sky and had other lights around it. That sounds like a description of Starlink. It really does. But need more information. Don't forget, write it down for sure. And like, you know what? You can go, there's a way to report those to Newfork, NUFORC. And that is like the public access to report publicly, and they put them on a big database. It doesn't get published to the public immediately because it's a once a month thing, but they accept reports all the time. Let me put this in.
What is this string and washer trick that they were talking about in the chat?
Yeah, the unknown, I believe. The unknown was talking about the string and washer trick for psychic ability. I don't know of that one either.
Is that like, is he talking about a pendulum?
Probably.
Okay.
Maybe.
I use
That would make
pendulum all the
sense.
time. It's
I
really
think
fun.
he still mentioned it somewhere. That was only 11:48. He says, yeah.
Okay. What's really
Okay.
fun is to take a pendulum to the grocery store with you and go to the produce department and hold that pendulum above some of the fruits and vegetables to pick out the freshest one and watch people look at you.
You know, here's another one. And this is less psychic and more energy body. You need a friend there, right? You could take something, zinc, right? You take it in one hand and then like this. You hold your other hand like this, and you resist having your fingers pulled apart, but you have to have somebody else there to do it, right?
Yeah.
And if it's good for you and it is in alignment with your energy, it'll be firm and strong. But if it's bad and out of your energy alignment, it'll pull apart easily. And it doesn't matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
It'll pull apart like, oh, that's bad for me.
Yeah.
I learned that one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Right. There's another one you can do. Stand with your feet about, shoulder width. Close your eyes. Stand up straight. And then ask a question. And then if you feel pulled forward, it'll be a yes. And if you feel kind of like pushed back, it'll be a no. It's all the, Chris Angel used to do that all the time, the muscle testing stuff. He'd get somebody, from the audience, maybe 5 cups on the table, and one of them would have a dagger or, big knife, sharp knife sticking up, and he would put his hand on the shoulder, stand behind the person, and hold his hand over each one of those cups. And based on this, whatever the person's reaction, that they knew where the knife was, but Chris didn't, and and he'd smash it, and everybody,
Right.
I used to love that show. I want to say Mindforked, and that's not
Mind Freak.
Mind Freak. Yes, that's
Yeah,
it.
Chris Angel.
Oh, yeah, Chris Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to him?
He's still in Las Vegas doing shows. He had a son that passed away, and it's really messed him up. He was sick for a long time. His son, I can't remember what kind of cancer he had. He had some kind of a childhood cancer, and they struggled with that for a long time, and then he eventually passed away. Yeah.
There's that sound some more. I'm hearing it's like loud.
You hearing like a siren?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it.
Can you hear it right now?
I heard it just a minute ago. I don't hear it now.
That's so cool. Well, they're here. They're watching, so they're quantum. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends.
Yes. And there's like a a hammering sound that I will hear sometimes when I talk to people, like somebody, like a next door neighbor is pounding nails into some wood. That knocking. We used to have that a lot when we first started talking. Remember?
When we would talk behind the scenes, just on the phone,
Yeah.
it would be like
Mm.
just constantly, and sometimes it would fade away,
Mm-hmm.
but then it would come back, and sometimes it was super loud, and I couldn't hear you talking.
Right. We'd
How
have to
loud?
look and call. Oh yeah.
Want to hear something weird? My traumatic brain injury. When it first happened, they didn't know it was a TBI. They just thought that it was a migraine headaches. And like my initial VA disability was like 25% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did find out was that the sound that I'm hearing is about 120 BPM. And as a DJ, I've been running 120 BPM to 140 BPM for like 15 years because that's the sound in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Doctor Who reference. The drums.
Yeah.
You hear the drums?
I hear drums. I really hear a drumming noise. It sounds more like blood pressure drums or noise drums
Mm-hmm.
than anything. But, I hear.
You have an
But it's inside.
right. You have
You
some
hear
kind
that all the time?
Yeah.
Really? How maddening. How do you deal with that?
I make music.
Yeah, I mean that's what you
I
do.
make music based upon that time.
Now, do you still? I'm sure you probably experienced this at some point. High pitched ringing in one of the ears.
What's that?
Do you ever get the high pitched ringing in one of the ears?
Yes.
Do you still get that even though you have this?
Yes. But that's only come as I've aged. I think I might be getting a little bit. I think he might be right. I might be getting a little bit of tinnitus as I age, but this sounds more like a blood pressure thing or a combination of pressure on a blood vessel, maybe in my ears, with other sounds going on. I don't know. They don't know.
I was going to suggest that it's not tinnitus. Oftentimes, that is you'll be getting either get a download or it's your spirit guide warning you. I will get it predominantly in this ear, and it's always been a warning. I got it, like for example, I was driving along. I had the right of way because it was a green light coming up to an intersection, and I got that blast. I mean, it was so loud it even just kind of made me jump. And I hit the brakes, just automatically hit the brakes because it startled me so bad. Just as somebody ran a red light and would have creamed me, would have T-boned me. There was like some boxes in the shipping area where I worked, and one of the top ones had fallen, but I got that ring in my ear and took a step back, and it was right in front of me. So I look at it more as like people talk about getting downloads and they'll get that ringing in their ear.
Mm-hmm.
That'll happen on this side. I just stop. I just kind of stop. The other thing I've learned, and this was from a teacher of mine. I didn't come up with all this on my own, so I got to give credit where credit is due. But it'll ring your ear if there's something you need to pay attention to, right then and there. Like say you're in a restaurant and you can kind of hear the people behind you, their conversation. There's something they want you to hear. There's some information there that's pertinent, to you, or things like that.
Yeah, I think Samo's right. It's pressure. Maybe not tinnitus, but definitely the pressure has changed because of the orbit injury. There was an orbit injury right here. This part of the.
Are you saying orbit?
Yes.
The orbit of my eye is deformed because it
The-
got collapsed.
Right. The shape of the skull right there around your eye is called an orbit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not my eye is in orbit. Not that. It's like right
Okay.
here.
Yeah, different use of the word orbit.
I was gonna.
You hit me so hard, my eye just popped out of the socket.
It went to space.
No, the orbit though, it was shattered, and I think that because I mainly hear the sound from this side, that it, don't leave it. It's serious. Oh, I know it's serious. I know it's serious. I see a doctor regularly about this. They don't know what it is. You know, the sound.
Yeah.
That's your right eye, your right side.
Yeah, my right orbit.
Hang on here.
I love it when the doctors don't know what it is because you know what? I just had to go to the doctor and they kept telling me all this crazy information. No. So now I'm clamping down with it's the weirdest thing, but it's the coolest thing too. Manifesting my own autonomic things, functions. It is cool. It is really cool. I learned to do it when I was using Buddhism. I was able, dude, y'all, it was so cool. I learned to calm my mind so much. I could throw my voice, extend my hearing, and it was basically hearing and speaking because I mean I could literally throw my voice and I didn't know I was doing it. People said I was yelling at them from right next to them. I was across the room and I was just speaking. It happened like a couple times and I would be able to like stare at someone from a long way away and I could hear them. I could tune out everything else and I could hear them. So cool. I can do that with health stuff too.
Yeah.
This this all this it helps, you know, but it's really me manifesting all this stuff. And
Yeah.
the fact that I know it is happening, therefore it is. It's so freaking cool. I can't even explain it, right?
My first MOS was medic, Samo.
Okay, I don't know.
Later on, they reclassed me in communications.
Is it more the ear or the eye? Or is it equally both?
It's inside the head.
This is what I'm doing here. I'm looking this up.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. This is an awesome, awesome book. I look up everything in this. And it tells you what emotional state or what past trauma you might be holding on to.
It might be tinnitus. It might be tinnitus.
I'm going to look that up because.
Renee is saying I have I think you mean tinnitus. I have tinnitus too, but I also get a sound in one ear or the other louder than the tinnitus and can get the heartbeat and blood pressure when I lay down. Same. I feel heart blood pressure thumping a lot, right? Because that's just heart, it's just me. But the one side or the other, that's something different. Me and my sister both have all this stuff going on, right? And we talk about it. She knows what tinnitus is. She is like, it's a constant background thing that I've learned to live with it. I could probably report it.
What it says about tinnitus is there's too much going on in your life, shutting down your ability to hear or listen, not trusting your own inner guidance, stubborn. That's the emotional mental. That
Does it say anything about motor pool engines or
no.
missile
30
firing?
kilowatt generators or missiles firing or
No, it doesn't. Sorry, it doesn't. But like for ear, for the right ear, it has to do with feelings of impatience, anger, being annoyed, hurt by other people's comments. involved in too much conflict or too many arguments, feel like you've had an earful, holding on to destructive beliefs from the past, especially childhood, and replaying them, feeling tired, worn out, dispirited about your life, work, family, and environment. Whereas if you have something on the left ear, it's feeling that what you have said is not important or not worth hearing or listening to.
Well, can y'all hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
I was offline for a little bit, right?
Oh, you were?
Wasn't I?
I don't know. I was looking at the book
Your
reading.
picture was there. It may have just froze.
I was frozen. Yeah, I lost my connection. My firewall just fired back up and said I was reconnected. I'm like, okay. But the unknown is asking, do you have certain things that you do or have to do to be able to manifest things? Believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Understand. Not you don't say I want something. That doesn't do it, right?
Right. You have to act as though it's already been given to you.
Right. I have this.
Yeah.
And you believe it. You see if like
Gratitude.
Right, here's an easy one. Car stuff, right? I want a new tire is saying nothing. I want a new tire. Yeah, you keep wanting it then. Or I have a new tire. And you go out to your car and you're like, man, I love that new tire. And I'm going to drive like I have a new tire, right? Now, this is from this level, okay? I've got a story. But
Now he's definitely
He's frozen. Nathan, you're frozen. Can you hear him? Can you hear us?
I'll start sleeping on my left, Samo. Yeah.
Did any of that resonate with you?
Yes, and that's the problem.
Okay, so what you do then, here's your remedy. She says that ears are like the sponges that absorb information. There are so many sounds you are unaware of because you are only able to focus on small amounts of information at a time. Much of what we hear is negative, and this negativity has the ability to affect not only your ears, but many other parts of your body. So start becoming aware of the noise around you and how it is affecting your ears. Does it make you want to block your ears, run away? Does it make you, just pay attention to what you're hearing and how you're feeling, and the more you do that, the faster you'll get at it. Then ask yourself, is there anything that I don't want to hear? Next time you are around someone who is saying something hurtful or upsetting, imagine indigo rays moving through your left ear to push anything that is dense and unclear out through your right ear. And then fire that, and then into a fire that dissipates the negativity.
Herzlich willkommen, Herrn Allen.
There, you're back now, Nathan.
okay.
You froze up on us.
Yeah, I got knocked offline. My firewall went down and everything went down.
Oh, wow.
And everything, and I was like, what? And okay, but I'm back. Okay, sorry about that, y'all.
No need to be sorry. We're your guests.
So anyway, that's one way that you can clear that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you got to hear, Nathan, but when referring to the ears, pay attention to what is being said around you, and take all that negativity, bring it in through the opposite ear, and then out the other into a fire. Imaginary meditative fire that just burns it up.
I'm talking to my bass tracker.
Oh.
Okay. It's on now. Sorry. Sorry, guys. It's what it understands. It's the stop and the go, and that's it. So I was like, why is it not? Oh, my light's red. Okay. Yes, Samo, I'm back.
It's interesting that using AI to track paranormal entities. Love it.
Well, I have to go back and look because Tim told me there was a lot of camera activity. And Renee said, I think it was Renee,
It
said,
pointed at your door when you left, and it stayed there, but it kept focusing in and out on the, like, I don't know, maybe it was just my screen.
somebody said there was an orb there,
Are
parked
you
at the door waiting.
are you Irish or
Oh,
Scottish, Tim?
I'm unknown origin, including Jew. No, I'm serious. I did one of those genetic tests. I'm mostly, what is it? Moor, and there's another race that the Moors merged with that were Jewish at the time. I think it starts with a B. I forget what it is, but I'm like 1% Jewish.
I ask that because I'm hearing you sometimes in a really thick Scottish accent.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
I'm not Scottish at all. If
you're,
anything, there would be Dutch from my grandparents' side.
it's a Scottish Irish type. It's more Scottish. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I know my language is a little bit muddy. It's because I come from the South, and then I moved out to the West Coast. No, I started in the South. I moved to Europe, and then I went to the West Coast. So I have kind of this slow but Southern drawl.
no, it's not that. And I think you're talk fine. I don't think it's muddy at all. I understand you perfectly. It's just a weird.
Oh,
It's the drone.
perception.
There's just
Perception, maybe.
yeah something. Because I thought he was doing it just to be fun. Fun, you know.
No, not at
Oh
all.
no, he was talking German. Welcome. And
Oh
when I
yeah,
came
earlier
back,
I was talking German.
Oh,
I
I
speak
didn't.
German, and he speaks a little German too. He probably won't admit it, but
I can
enough
barely
that he can
remember
get a
any of
beer and a bratwurst and not starve in Frankfurt.
it. Yep. It was the funniest thing when I got to Germany. I had left El Paso when I was struggling to learn Spanish, and when I got to Germany, it all came out Spanish. I would
I had
even,
the same problem.
yeah, I would have the translation in front of me. I'm like, where's the bathroom? And it would come out, "Donde está el baño?" I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's not what it says.
I had the same problem. I had 2 years of high school Spanish, and then we went to Germany. And in Germany, uh, I had to learn German because my first wife was German and everything. And I always had this problem of pulling Spanish words out of my ass and putting it in the German language. And it doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
Hold on, hold on.
But when I went to Spain, it was great.
Yeah, that would come in handy. I took just a year of French. I
Yeah.
remember the cuss words. That's about it. A few other.
Okay, the camera keeps turning. Every time I move my hand up, it turns off.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
shifting.
Oh no! Every time I hold my hand up, that's the stop tracking symbol, and the resume is the OK symbol, and I'm like, ugh.
Do you still have that little boy ghost that plays with your toys and stuff in the middle of the night?
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. It's not scary. It's not scary at all. It's noisy. At first, it was scary, but then I figured out what was going on, and it's like, if you want to, every night, something's going over playing with the toys, right? The dolls are over there, and the dolls that I was so infatuated with at one point in time that he digs them out. I'm like, if you want to get them, I mentally broadcast this. If you want to play with anything, take it into the hallway or take it in the other room. And it stops. right? And Xena has been like, well, you'll learn to deal with it. I'm like, thanks.
There's something kind of just really disturbing about the thought of a youngster being a ghost.
Oh, it was the 1700s or early 1800s, so
And I wonder if maybe he's like what they call a shard, where he's just a.
I don't know.
Have you ever heard of soul fracture or soul retrieval?
Right.
Something traumatic happened. There's like a shard of you that stays put somewhere in your life at some age, and eventually you can go back and collect them all. But I wonder if he's a leftover.
That's a whole theory, Raven.
Yeah, it's a whole rabbit hole to go down. But I had a teacher that talked about that, and he helped people do that soul retrieval stuff. And he said you don't ever. A lot of paranormal investigators run across hauntings that are actually shards. They're just a portion of that person's consciousness that's left there, and the rest of it's like moved on. And you don't want to reunite or force any type of reunion, because the other part of that soul might not be ready to handle that piece back, because it's obviously trauma that's kept it there, and it may not be ready to deal with trauma, and you can really screw stuff up and not to do anything with it, leave it alone,
Right. I'm not familiar with that very much at all. Not that aspect of it. I've heard that only a piece of us come down and in the meat suit.
Right. And from there it can further shatter.
Right. I don't. I wish I had more information, but
Um,
I know Shingoji came in here and said, "There's a little kid. He's standing right there. I can see him as clear as I can see you." And I was standing right over here.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what those two people in my front door that weren't at my front door when I got to the front door.
Right.
They were as clear as day, except it wasn't day, and it was.
Yeah,
but
they were solid.
Tangible. They were tangible. They were solid.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a full body apparition, dude.
Ever seen? Yeah, it's the craziest.
In ghost hunting, that's a full body apparition, and I have yet to see that. I'm not.
Well, that has me convinced on ghosts. I just don't necessarily believe that there's the same thing that most people believe that ghosts are, namely being dead people that didn't cross over. And I think Raven is a good one to talk to about that. They're like the ghosts I've encountered, they seem to be pieces of things, like you're saying, not the full on, with the one exception of the apparition that I saw. That seemed fresh. That seemed like that couldn't have been more than 10 years since they got wrecked.
I've had a ghost walk through me. That is...
Yeah, I've had those. Those are weird.
In my experience, it took all the air like that out of my lungs, and I collapsed. It's like I, put my mouth around the damn shop vac thing and turned it on. It just sucked all the air right out of me instantly.
Yeah, I feel like we're walking through a dimension that has already been walked through, and that everything... Okay, when I see the big picture, we talked about the big picture before, what I see is the entire universe. And the entire universe is a sphere or a crystal. I wish we had our scrying crystal here because it makes a beautiful illustration. But you get it. The whole thing is a crystal that everything has happened. Everything that will ever happen, has ever happened, has already happened. And what we are actually in is a scrying crystal of some sort. And what is happening is that the light that is shining through the crystal is your existence. And different lights from different existences are coming through. And of course, this hasn't always been this scrying crystal on an alien's mantle. This thing right here is the only spirit. I don't drink. This crystal right here is where all your shards and all your different perspectives are coming from, and the reason why people don't see the universe in the same way. I'm hoping you're getting my metaphor, Raven.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I'm following you.
I think that these things that we're seeing, these ghosts, they're things that have already passed through and they've done their thing, and that we're not necessarily seeing a shard of a person's life so much as an echo of the energy that passed through. One day this may be useful because we may be able to resuscitate people based upon these energy signatures they leave behind. But I'm going to get Star Trekky after here if I keep talking, and I don't think Nathan wants that on this one.
Well,
I like what you think.
a lot of our people don't know the Star Trek. I mean, they don't even know the Raven. Tell me about Unimatrix Zero.
Unimatrix Zero. I have
no idea, right? See, that's most people that we got. But
I used to watch Star Trek too, but I don't know what the hell that is.
Okay, it's
I wasn't like so.
It's an episode.
I don't remember all that stuff. I mean, some of them are.
Yeah.
It's an episode of Voyager. If you want to go back and check Voyager,
right? And Renee is asking, "Are we going to get back to the hill?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh yes,
we drifted way off, but it was kind of related. It was related. It just kind of went that way for a minute, but we can come back, no problem. Too easy. That's what we're here for. And
now, is the hill someplace in the astral that these?
I believe so. I believe so.
That's kind of the impression I got, but
right. She said that it was a psychic world that we don't know anything about.
Okay.
But she's coming from a pure muggle stance, and that's good. That's all right. We need that. People need that because where are we? You know, we're here. And it seems to be they have seen. You know what it seems to me? It's when you get a computer out of a box, a brand new computer from a Windows computer. Before you change any pictures, the default desktop is the green hill.
Oh yeah.
I think you work with what you know, and they know brand new computer, green hill seems like a pleasant place. Why not use that, But they don't know they're doing it. That's manifestation. So it seems like they are all agreeing on this. And one person presents the green hill and they go, "Oh, that looks pleasant. Let's do that." So they go, "Yeah," telepathically. Now they're calling it telepathy. I'll go ahead with it. I'll go ahead and say telepathy.
An energy imprint or something that they just pass on.
Well, if I send you a picture, you're going to see that picture and you're going to think of that picture when you talk to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Happens with commercials all the time. Happens with commercials all the time.
Right. It's kind of like subliminal programming, but it's just like subliminal suggestion. And these guys, hey, what's up, T-Bone? Thank you for coming to the Quantum Show, man.
So now, are they going? Is this where they go in their sleep, or are they going there during the day consciously? Or
all the time? They go there. They have demonstrated. I started listening to the tapes. Right? They've demonstrated that they are going there. They're changing information with each other. There's an echo now. Oh, it went away. Okay, cool. But they're exchanging information with each other. and the parents and the teachers who are there during the day, they're on the phone with each other or on chat with each other, talking about what their kids are talking about, and it's the same thing. They're literally exchanging information. So whether it's an impression of a place, but one the example Amy was talking about was the beekeeping, everything about bees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that part?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were talking about doing everything, the masks, the nets, the gloves, the hives. They were talking about beekeeping, and um and it was not during the sleep. It was during class time or awake time, and they were doing it, and they were like, it showed them, using graphical interface computers to tell them what they were doing, and it was like, what we know of autistic kids, they need a lot of help doing stuff, right? But they're not dumb, they're
Right.
not incapable, they're just communicating on a different frequency than we are. We're here. We're all right here. Now, we have open doors. I'm still hearing the noise. Diane, yeah, I'm still hearing it. It's the men in black, let's just say. The anomalies show up, right? I've got my crystal network over here. Good people are invited to join in from time to time. Could be that. Could be Tim's Tim's psychic network over there. He's got his own deal going. Same thing with Raven. Raven has got like the whole cat dimension over there. So yeah, I say it as a joke, right? I say it and it sounds joking, but
It's
that
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
those guys are portaling all over the place. You
Yeah.
just get so used to it. You're like, oh, cat. Oh, no cat. Oh, he took off. And
There
yeah,
was a reason that both the jackal and the cat were sacred to the Egyptians.
Yeah.
damn right. Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they were not asleep. That's what we do, right? That's what when we're asleep. Amy said she heard her dad talk to her while she was between asleep and awake. That is the zone where we need to be.
That's the time.
That's it. That's when you're
Oh,
the most
I think
open.
it's either the alpha or the theta brainwave state.
Well, yeah, it's something. Tim, you had something?
yeah. I was hoping. I take a beta blocker, and I still dream. What does that say?
I'm not real
I'm Raven.
What does that say? I mean, I'm not sure I'm
I
understanding your
mean,
question.
you said something about it being a beta state
Mm-hmm.
when we're dreaming. When we're dreaming, I take a beta blocker and I still see things when I'm in there in the dream state.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cotton candy.
Now, this beta blocker, is this specifically for sleep or something?
Yes,
Why don't they want you going into beta?
because I have nightmares when I go there.
I have nightmares too. And so I don't sleep much.
Right. And I wonder if that would affect your abilities or anything if you were to take a beta blocker.
I wonder how. What do you know what it's made of? How would you?
Oh, sure. It's called prazosin. They discovered it as a blood pressure medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and they found out that people who take this blood pressure medicine, when they dream, they have more pleasant dreams. And so they thought that that would work with people who have PTSD, such as myself. And I've taken prazosin for years. I'll put it in the chat how it's spelled.
That's fascinating. I didn't know they had such a thing.
Leave
Is beta the deepest you can get? Is beta? Is it?
Yep, got it. I'm spelling it right. Check the
Well,
spelling. There you go.
if you have a beta blocker, then you would not be able to go to theta. But and theta is where the body heals itself.
Oh no, my body still heals itself. I mean, it doesn't heal itself as well as it used to because I'm diabetic. But you know, I'm wondering, does that mean that the beta band is irrelevant to dreaming or something?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm curious now.
I think that it's something that science hasn't found out yet about the mind. Am I on?
True.
Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza is the one to look into for that sort of thing. He has his people have spontaneous healings at his lectures, workshops. But he has studied the brain and the different levels of consciousness and the sleep cycles and all this kind of stuff. Let me get this information for you.
Okay, well, while you're looking that up, let me liken that and what you're talking about, Tim, to all these things that we're talking about, beta blockers, theta states, and dream states.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that much about it. We can observe some of the effects, like through PET scans.
But you have an audience that's observing you right now, and that audience will look up prazosin and figure out what exactly it's blocking, and
Right.
probably the whole community will benefit from me sharing that particular medicine with that particular diagnosis. Like I said, they discovered it as a blood pressure drug, and it had these side effects.
Yeah, I was just looking it up too, and I found prazosin, and well, I found beta blocker, and they were looking. It was used to treat blood pressure, and they found out that it does this other stuff too, and they found out like many things by accident. And these kids in this, oh man, these kids in this group, I'm calling it Unimatrix Zero, y'all. Okay, just totally what it is. They're in their natural state. They're what do they call it? In their true state in this place, and that's what it was in Unimatrix Zero. These Borg would go into hibernation, and their true selves would go through this firewall door into Unimatrix Zero, and they weren't Borg there; they were themselves. And I think that's what's going on with these guys. And sci-fi really brings out some really cool aspects, and I think they're snuck in specifically with Star Trek, right? They're sneaking things in that is real, but they're only getting a little bit of it, and they can only express it so much because they don't get the whole picture. They're not attending a class; they're getting slipped a note, like through the quantum, right? And so many of them are, and I think that's kind of what's going on with these kids. But these kids are actually doing it, and finally they're being taken seriously. No meds. They're doing it by themselves. They're wired differently, and it actually come up to me. Come up. I was thinking about it that we as humans for thousands of years have been preyed upon, and all those things, all those instincts are still there. We run, we get scared at everything. We're scared of our own shadow, and everything. Well, look at most of ufology, most of the paranormal. People go looking for ghosts. They want to have a thrill session. They get scared. But these kids, they don't need to be scared. Maybe that isn't, maybe it is not an evolutionary leap, but it is some sort of advancing. It's some sort of advance where they're turning off their prey instincts like we have it on, and maybe it's not a full step forward, but it's a step in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, that's what I'm thinking, right? And it's a hard thing to explain. Like you don't have all of a sudden we have five fingers, right? Or all of a sudden our thumbs form. No, it happens over time. And these
Right.
kids are maybe one step in that direction where we're getting away from being prey and we're really utilizing the kind of connectivity that we all have. You know,
I think they're advanced. I think they're way advanced.
they may be. That's what I'm getting at. But I mean, expanding that idea, what makes them more advanced? Well, they're using Unimatrix Zero, and they're doing it on their own,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really freaking cool. Okay. Um. And okay, Raven put up a link here. Doctor.
Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
He was in a triathlon uh, over in Europe, and
Oh wow.
to the bicycling part of the thing, and a fruit truck, fruit or vegetable truck, came around the corner and hit him and broke every bone in his body, and his spine was just trashed. They had to suspend him, strap him to a bed, and then flip it so he was like staring at the floor. His nose was like 6 inches from the floor, and they told him he'd never walk again, and he would never,
Yes.
life was basically over in his. I think it was in his 20s, and he worked out in his mind. He's like, the body has its own intelligence. He knew this because he was a chiropractor. And the body, like, for example, you don't have to tell your heart to beat; it just does it. You don't have to breathe and think consciously. You take a breath now, and how the white blood cells attack the, viruses and the foreign things in your body. Your body has a whole intelligence system, and that's what
Right.
this book, in fact, is based on. That I was reading out of. Okay, so he told the body, the body listens to us, and that's why in all these things they always say, talk to your body. Don't cuss at it. Don't say, this is killing me. This is killing me. Where it will, eventually. But the body listens to you. So taking that information, he would picture his spine, and he would picture the things growing back together and fusing back together. And they wanted to do a very risky surgery on him, and he refused to have it done. And the doctors thought he was just nuts. And he says, I'm going to walk out of here. And they were like, okay, yeah, who upped his morphine, right? uh, they didn't believe him, and he fused himself. He healed himself. He had some medical help while he was in the hospital and some physical therapy.
Hmm.
He never got the surgeries, and he was not paralyzed. And he had told the divine, if you help me here, I will dedicate the rest of my life to helping other people heal. So that's what he does. What he does. He
You
does
know what?
stuff.
That reminds me of quite a few people that we know, me included. I do that. I I do that. I did it today. And okay, Kelly is asking someone to take a screenshot of something. Do we have something? Oh, Kelly Lewis, there's somebody got blocked. What? Okay, well that's on. Okay, this is a Facebook thing. I don't think I'm on Facebook right now. So okay, Diane and Kelly are talking. So
Oh,
okay, and sorry,
that's okay.
but yeah, that sounds like energy self helping physical self. I do that too. I just don't look at it like a chiropractor. I look at it like really manifestation. I don't know how else to put it. And Okay, they're discussing Diane's picture. Okay. All right. Well, y'all, I didn't realize we're over the 2 hour limit.
Oh, are we? I didn't
Yeah.
know the time.
And this has been good. We
Yeah.
talked. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. Okay.
Okay.
Because I need to get out of here. Chores. Take care of.
Yep.
Would you say, Tim? Bio breaks? Yep. Yep. Same.
Yep.
Okay. Diane. Okay. I'll talk to you on Facebook, Diane. So I'm going to look up that this stuff superhuman
I hear a
documentary.
crow now.
That's my phone. It's my.
Okay.
It's
I
a
thought
radio.
I actually.
Every time I get a notification, it squawks. I turn it off.
It's awesome.
Well, thank you, the unknown. I'm glad you came by. Thank you for the
Yeah.
participation. Glad you liked what you encountered here. This is now. Let me clear it up. This is a blog with other bloggers,
Yes.
right? I'm not deep diving into much, but when I do, I have had those shows, the frequencies, the things with charts and pictures and interviews. Those are those shows. This is a blogger show. That's all. That's all. And everyone is welcome. I can feel this. Okay. Thank you,
Rachel.
Obi too. Yeah, we covered the hill. The we touched a little bit on the telepathy tapes, right? Um, we talked about the comparison with my very own crystal network that I believe you both are on, and comparison to Unimatrix Zero. How I think the writers were tapping into some kind of higher consciousness about that, right? And
Have a good night, Renee.
yeah, thanks, Renee. Have a good night. And I don't know where Aussie Boss is, but I can feel the red light blinking madly at me.
Okay. I'm gonna put a link in the chat here for anybody that wants to try to learn telepathy. This is a website here. It's a free download. It's at Telepathy 101. You
Okay.
know what I'm talking about, right? I've put it in here before a long time ago. I put it in Amy's show too. But this is those ETs that live in the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico. Channeled
Yeah.
this with her. Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, there are techniques
Yeah.
and there are ways. This is one. I will try to put that in the description afterwards. There we go. There we go.
Please.
Please like and subscribe if you're here. You're quantum. Of all the cat videos, you ended up here.
That one you sent was awesome. I think I'm gonna start making cat videos. I'm gonna
Do
move
it.
I
Do
encourage it. I encourage you all to do like a lot of different videos of a lot of different things, because this network used to be independent people like this that did their own thing, and I miss it. I miss it. Corporations are trying to edge us out of this whole community access idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am not about that. I'm about, they call it grassroots. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm all about that because, oh yeah, aliens are not demons. Disclosure is personal, and don't mention Immaculate Constellation. Don't ever talk about that. Right,
Constellation.
Immaculate. Don't mention that. Apparently, you also can't say UAP and psionics, but well, that's right up my alley. That's right up our alley.
But then if you say UFO, they correct you and say UAP. What's up with that?
What are they trademarking it now?
Who knows? There's too many damn acronyms.
Yeah. Well, you know what? This has been a great show, y'all. Both parts, the panel, y'all made it better, actually. Y'all made my first hour seem better. And I'm like, wow, I got ghosts on video. I got some of the most quantum people on here. Awesome. So I am gonna get out of here. Got to what? Where is
Pushing buttons.
pushing buttons?
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks
Thank you,
everybody. Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Samo.
you, Kelly. Everybody has been great in the chat. And welcome to all the new people. The unknown T-Bone stopped by. Wasn't new, but he doesn't come by very often. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. And if you're here, you're quantum. Remember, if you're here, you're quantum. There you go. I don't know. I'm out. It's late. I'm pushing buttons, y'all. I talk to y'all next time. I may have shorts. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good Sunday.
Bye.